the Workforce Connections podcast, where we discuss workforce development in Southern Nevada. Here's your host.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the WC podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. Please help me welcome Mylo Lopez, who's the principal architect, designer, founder, and owner of MyloFleur Flower.
Thank you.
Welcome, Mylo.
I appreciate you welcoming today.
Yeah, I think, this is, we've only met shortly, but I was so happy to meet you because we're working on this exceptional project, which you now are getting familiar with. It's been in the works for almost 2 years. It's called the Civic Center Campus in front of City Hall, 2 brand new buildings of which we're going to be occupying the 4th floor of Building B. And biophilic design became, or a biophilic element became something we really were interested in. And so through our first calls and referrals, we ended up talking to people from out of state. And something inside me said, I want to talk to a local artist, and we tried a little harder and we found you. And so I'm so glad. Thank you for being here. We're going to talk a little bit about your business today. Does that sound good?
Sounds great. Yes, okay. I'm excited.
So to get started, usually we ask our guests to share with our listeners and our viewers a little bit about their story. So tell us where you were born, where you grew up, where you went to elementary, middle, high school, and college, and maybe take us all the way to your first job.
Okay. So my parents are immigrants. They're from Mexico. I was born in Corona, California. So that was the time in the 80s where, you got your green card, you can just go. But my mom had her family in California. So that's how I ended up being born there. But once I was born, I was taken back to Mexicali. And Mexicali, Baja California is like the hottest place on earth. It's desert, it's populated by Chinese people living underground. It's a very interesting city. So when I was growing up, passing the border, I went to school there. So I went to kindergarten, first, second, third grade. And when my parents had just a green card and I had my certificate of being born in the United States.
Yeah.
Right in the border, Mexicali is a border town to Calexico. So Calexico means California and Mexico. So that's
the American city side.
It's American city.
Mexicali on one side, Calexico on the other side.
That's right.
Okay.
So when we would cross because we would cross every other week because I could not take in Mexican milk. So the American milk was what I could handle. Wow. It was interesting. So that's when we were passing by. And they brought it up multiple times with my parents. She's an American citizen. How come she's not studying in America? And Dad's like, no, she's doing great here. But that was in my mind. And I thought, I'm going to fail my classes so I can. No, but I really just felt was not connecting with the school there. It was black and white. You go to school, there's tires as like decor, desert is really hot. Then you cross to Calexico, there's a garden and jardín, gardens of like playgrounds. And I was just thinking, how can I get there? So I ended up asking my parents if I could stay with my aunt, and try it out for 3rd grade. My parents said, okay, do you really want to do this? It's my first time being outside without my family. So I moved out with my aunt, and I struggled. I struggled a lot because I didn't grow up learning English. It was all Spanish. And even though there was a population higher than majority were Hispanic Mexican, there was that idea of you need to learn. And it was so hard for me to speak English. And so there's a moment where my aunt felt like I needed to get out. And by the time my parents had a miracle happen and they bought their home in Calexico. And then after Calexico, we ended up moving to Las Vegas. And then for Las Vegas, I attended Las Vegas Academy, Las Vegas High School first, Las Vegas Academy, then UNLV.
Wow. What major did you pursue at UNLV?
Oh, I did landscape I started with architecture. But because I was working at Wynn at the moment, I felt like I should do horticulture kind of landscape because I was working as a floral designer. And that's how I paid for school. So I switched to landscape, and it was the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah, let's dive into that because I know I've heard the story already. I want to make sure our listeners do as well. Let's dive into that professional career journey because I'm sure most of us don't grow up knowing exactly where we're going to end up. And for you, it was kind of the same way. You're describing it now. So walk us through that career phase where you actually made that change and you said, no, this is where I want to be. And you're very happy at it now. You're the principal architect, again, designer, founder, and owner of MyloFleur Floral. Tell us, though, how did you get there? Because there were several steps along the way professionally.
So it actually was triggered by Las Vegas Academy. I was a Japanese major, and I was I had done one of my semesters in Japan, and I loved the films. So when I came back, I told my parents, I'm going to California. I'm going to be a film director. My parents never discouraged me. They just said, yes, but you need to know how you're going to pay for this. So that's where I was helping. I also took care of my brother. So my parents are providers. So I would take the bus, get my little brothers, find my mom while she was working at MGM Resorts events. And to get quicker, I will start working with her so I can get her out faster, cleaning everything. And my brothers will be included on that. Because of that reason, the manager saw us and she said, hey, do you want a summer job? And I said, yeah, I love that. But I was so captivated, not by the flowers. I was captivated by the graphic designers and how they turned spaces into this box into an event. What is that? So I told her when I graduated high school, she said, the manager was amazing. She said, what do you want to be and what do you want to do? And I said, my parents want me to be an electrician. And this is real. My dad took me to get tested at the union. He said, you will get paid more. And after maybe 3 years, then you can study whatever you want. And he knew how much I love math. And I purposely did not take the test. I was like, no, I will find another way to become a film director. So she supported me in the way, said, okay, I'm going to support you during summer and be able to do that. Well, once I hit to my first semester of UNLV, the film directors of the film students and the architecture students were together in the same building. And I remember sitting there for hours, editing. And I see the architecture students just cutting things and doing different manuals and talking and designing photography. And I was like, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. I couldn't sit in a dark room just staring at other people. And I think I didn't understand filming myself. So then I was more motor skills on, more active in decisions. And then after architecture, I sat there and I saw that there was so much thinking and processing. And then I saw the landscape architecture students just digging holes, doing this. And if they didn't like it, they can take it apart. And I was like, I like that one. So then that was a process of understanding who I was. And that's why it's not because I love plants. It's not because I didn't really know about plants. It's the motivation of being outside. But once I met the professors have to do a lot with the education. So my professors for landscape architecture were 100% the most magnificent people. And the love they had for nature is what transpired to me and said, well, what does that tree say about that area? Or what does that plant say about that? Don't think about beautifying it. Think about how it's transforming someone's eyes and feeling. And that is what I kept going with it. Because the first thing you say, oh, you made this? Yeah, perfect. It looks great. And now it's like, you know what? I love how this makes me feel. Architecturally as well, you do more of a gut plans because you create how people are going to interact with spaces. But with landscape, is everybody softens or says, oh, I really don't like this. I don't like that plant. It has allergies. But 80% out of the people really love nature to be around them.
Yeah, and I think this project that you're going to work with us on, we've been there. We're going again tomorrow. It has a beautiful outdoor space with natural grass, and that was a big decision the city made because, of course, grass is something we all have to be conscious about. But since it is the central point of that plaza and it's going to be used for events, they landed on natural grass, and a lot of people are happy about that because, as you said, plant life is important. Now, before we talk more about that project, the Civic Center and your role with us, working with us, tell us a little bit about the story about MyloFleur, where that name come from, because I know Milo is kind of evident, but Fleur, and then it's MyloFleur Floral Design. So tell us about the name of the company and the vision of the company.
Okay. So My formal name is Miriam, and my short name is Milo. But I didn't get that name until I was in China, because when I was teaching children, they couldn't say the R's, so we just shortened it for them, and we came up with Milo. The Fleur part was I had a good friend from France who said, Milo, you should name your company MyloFleur, because I love to dress up during college. That's how the name started. I never changed it. I just liked it because of how I put together. But my company didn't start until people knew that I was doing Floral at the casinos. And so my friends from high school and from church will ask me to do their weddings. And one actually gave me a cashier check for MyloFleur. I couldn't cash it. So I go to the bank. He goes, you should register your name. And I said, how do I do that? And so that's how the process, because of a check. I never thought I was going to go far with it. My idea was to work for a firm, work for this big firms, and create beautiful architectural landscape. Never in my life did I ever think that need, because I didn't have everything in my life. Everything, I had to work for it. So who would have thought that would slowly building is because of the needs I needed. I needed a bank account. I needed to pay for school, and I needed to help my parents. So that truly was the formation of MyloFleur.
And I know, again, just getting to know you a lot myself. We had lunch together the other day for the first time. I love breaking bread with folks because you really start to lay down a deeper connection, a deeper relationship, whether it's business, professional, or friendship. But I know that you're very much a people person. Not only are you very creative, but you're very much a relationship person, not a transactional person. And so, and it's evident in many ways. One of them is when we started to schedule you for the podcast, our PR contractor, Kathy Top from Red 7 Communications, said, you're having Milo at the podcast? I said, yeah, she did my wedding, And so she told us how she was moved by your style and your floral artistry. And this was back in 2019, pre-COVID. But she reached out to you and she was very happy with the results. But I wanted you to tell our audience how you use floral storytelling, right, to create the kind of emotional connection that you like to have with clients. And again, to create those experiential feelings that you want clients to walk away and keep for a lifetime. How do you do that?
I think it's from, there's something I have is called dyslexia. So being dyslexic and being in a very analytical world, I had to turn everything into either music, color, or texture. So students, anyone, or even at work, if someone told me analytically how to work something out, I could never do it. I had to see the movements, the relationship. So that when people come and approach me, especially Kathy, she had a story and the color scheme. And so she goes, I want nature of blooms. I need this, and desert accents. But she started with the color scheme first, and then she told me about her aesthetics. But I learned that because of the way that I learn things. So if you send, my calendar is not like words or big bold letters, it's by color. So red means emergency, yellow means you have time. So I learned that even in music, my notes, I had to color my notes because my professor, my teachers noticed that I wasn't reading the commands. I was reading the emotion of the song. So it was like pinks were soft and romantic. It was, whoever had to teach me, I want to say like, you guys are great, because if it took even my structural teacher, it took me 3 times to pass her class until she put her guitar together and told me how the strings were, the vibration of the strings had the tension and structural. And I was like, oh, I got it. Mm-hmm. And that's how I passed my test. So that is how I learned through all the analytical parts are artsy at the end because I turn them that way. And that is how I'm able to talk to my clients. When they're very analytical or their price point is based, and I say, then what is more important? How does floral play a part in your life? Like, how is it going to be part of it? Is it just decor or does it mean something? But for Kathy, I will never forget her. So this is like a miracle for me because I never got to see her again. But in that moment, 2019, I was switching. I had to set the restart button in my life where I was like putting boundaries on everybody I knew. And I was living by myself for the first time, and I had no money to pay for my instruments for my project. And I don't know how she found me. And when she contacted me, she had no question about my pricing, and she paid me right then. It's exactly the amount I needed to present our project. And so I know that there's a lot of gold strands being presented in our lives and connections. How am I going to be transactional when my life is all given by people that are meant to be passed by time? Like, how can I be transactional? It's just like, I can't be, numbers are not my thing.
Yeah. And like you said, life has surprises, because back then I remember seeing the pictures of her wedding with the, the Vegas signs.
Yeah.
She was in that, what is that called? The museum? Neon?
The Neon Museum. Mm-hmm.
And I love the elements, like you said, of her floral thing, but who would have known then years later I would meet you. And you're right. I also can't remember exactly how I found you. It was just the desire of saying, why am I being connected through my searches and my referrals to this bigger companies that are out of state that come here and do jobs? They would send me jobs that they did in certain casinos and bars and restaurants. But I think I just kept saying local artists until boom, Mylo came up. And
that's amazing. Yeah, that's great.
So I'm glad. So let's talk a little bit more about this project then that we're working on now. I know tomorrow we'll do a little walkthrough. You're already putting together some mock-ups. I'm going to come see the shop soon on Sunset.
Yeah.
But one of the things that, of course, makes me really happy that we are working with you is that your belief that biophilic design draws upon elements of life and conveys composition, palette, movement, texture, emotion. I mean, that's really, like you said, doesn't speak of just colors, but a lot more. So I'd like to know, you now have learned, I know what to expect from you. You've kind of told us, and I've seen you already, your creative juices in action. But now that you've familiarized yourself, what we've done with the project so far to get to this point where we know that we have some places where biophilic elements need to be, but we've shared with you the last few months, we've really focused on the other pieces of the project, which is the furniture, fixture, and equipment. We've given you, I think, some sense of that. How do you think we're doing in that aspect of making sure this project is not just your run-of-the-mill project, but something very special?
Well, first, the goal and the purpose of where you're working. Then I have connections in where you're working too.
Right.
So I remember walking the space is empty. I remember listening to you and looking through the illustrations and sections and floor plans, but I already immediately knew what I wanted to put. Mm-hmm. But then I have to do some extra elements and stuff. And then I thought, when I want them to get out of their office or whoever's coming, I want them to know, how did that wall is sustaining itself? How is it possible that if vegetation, how is it, there's where you go into biomimicry, right? Like, how do we imitate the textures of things when it's not real, but to last? And there's so much into biophilia. And that has a lot of, I want to say, a sermon to say. Like the art that I make, there's a sermon to speak. Mm-hmm. And whoever is analyzing and thinking deep, because that's what you're going to get, people that are looking to better themselves, to better goals. How did I transform that space into that? But not, okay, so that's the internal. The exterior is that they have some feeling of they're not just stuck in a building of structural elements that look pretty, is that the vegetation is around them. And it does so well with everybody. Even in a restaurant, you always see people focusing on the taste and the smells, but then the visual part of like, I love where I work. I want to be here.
Yeah, I think that's what's exciting for us too, because as we walk the space with you, you already were starting to get a bunch of ideas. Yeah. Your mind starts to run. And for us, that's our goal. I think I've shared with you, we've really been selective, intentional, and purposeful about not just the layout of the space, which I'm grateful the city of Las Vegas worked with us from that scratch. It was a white page, and we said, we want private spaces here, collaborative spaces here, meeting rooms here. And they've done that with us. But then also finding the furniture partner that would bring in the type of furniture that has both form and function. In other words, it has to work, but it also can be beautiful. And we believe we've achieved that. And now this piece about, we know that the space has great natural light. We walked it the other day. But this bringing in this plant element is really now the cherry on top, if you will, that we're finally working with you on. And what we want is that for people, those of us who live there every day, to be happy to go there every day because you're surrounded by what you perceive to be, again, beautiful and functional. But also guests. We want guests that come to visit to say, who's this Mylo artist? I love this wall.
Yeah.
Especially that one that you've shown me that I wouldn't have thought of. I didn't have in mind, but it has almost that 3D effect with what seemed to be trees coming out,
Yes.
Very, very cool. So I know we have a few weeks ahead of us on that, but I'm grateful again that we found each other and we're working on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Mylo, another thing I think that is something that I'm learning about you is that your work consistently reflects that promise that you make, right? That commitment to the quality that you just described. You also believe in honoring your clients with integrity, dependability, but also cultivating fun, fostering creativity, and striving for excellence in every detail. I mean, that's a high standard you set for yourself. What are some of the projects that you can look back and say, I delivered there because that project speaks of all this. It has my seal. Are there certain projects that you're really proud of?
Yes. The first one, I think that where I was working with my first assistant or my second assistant, and we were working from an apartment where I lived, and we were called. We had just graduated, and we were the first form comes out of our website, and it says $100,000 project, and we're like, this is a scam. Turned out to be the Grammys. The first time the Grammys got here. And I called immediately. It was like, yes. And I started drawing. We were both from architecture. So we started drawing, believing how we're going to do. So this, the concept idea, the engineering part. And then, I have another assistant now that says that I'm like magnificent delusional. And I love that because my drawings come like, how are we going to put that together? And it's my team that's like, wow, how are we going to put this together? It's like, it's going to happen. Gravity is not our enemy. It will happen. And so that is why it was so important for me to go to school, because I can define gravity in all elements that are supposedly not supposed to work on. So we had to turn in, I think it was a nightclub. We had to transport this nightclub into a landscape of black and gold grass. Wow. And I had 20 girls. We had 4 hours to transport the space. And then we had 160 arrangements, and we have 400 to deliver to another one. And this is my first time ever running such a big project. And what I love about Las Vegas is that the community I work in the Floral, all my friends from Floral, they said, I'm going to help you. Even though they had their own business, I will help you. And all of us were working in that big project. That's one of the coolest things about our city, that our community is very supportive of each other.
And I mean, how cool to be able to say you worked on the Grammys.
Yes.
The big stage. Which hotel did it take place in?
So that was at the MGM, but we did the after party. And so we did the Caesars. I can't remember. At
a Caesars venue.
Yes, it was a nightclub.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. And so when that happens, I'm just curious about after the party's over, what happens to that design, that beautiful thing you spent hours, weeks, months designing? Does somebody get to keep it?
Yes. So we don't like to throw things away. Honestly, that is one of my first things to talk to a client. If it's a one day thing, we definitely say, do you want to donate it to somebody? We used to go into different areas and donate, but because some people are allergic, we can't donate that much anymore. So what we do is like, either we give it to the workers that are working at night. There's laborers, there's beautiful women carrying trash cans. And I said, do you want to take anything home? They're like, yes. Things I'd never seen before. So we try to always give it away. We try to not throw anything away because at the end, it's just a mass of amazing things. They still have a lifespan.
Yeah.
So,
and some of it longer than others, right? Because I think when you use live plants, obviously that lifespan is shorter than the preserved stuff that can live for a long, long time, right?
Yes. Yeah. So another part that is we do sustainability is that we dry them. So we dry our floral to turn into petals, and then we sell it to people who are turning lipsticks or to handy downs, or it's just a lot of people from Etsy that could reach out to us, and we can get that to them.
Very cool. So we've talked a lot about work, rightfully so, and your passion, for the industry and this project that hopefully we're going to maybe after it's complete come back and show our listeners, our audience, what we came up with, because right now it's all conceptual in your mind on paper. But I think maybe we need to do another episode once it's done and living so people can come and see Mylo's artistry in motion and hopefully engage with you in project as well. But tell us a little bit now. Let's switch to your private side because, you work a lot, but I'm sure you also hopefully try to have a healthy work-life balance. What kind of hobbies, interests do you have when you're not working? How do you spend your free time?
Well, working is my hobby. I'm just kidding. No, I do love, we try to be also very connected with the community, but I run a charity, was called Land to Land, de Tierra a Tierra, for refugees. So I go to Mexico a lot and help them. We kind of slowed down. So that's one of the things that I do work on, giving charity a lot. So we nonprofit organization. The second thing, I am a pianist. And so I stopped recently, but I used to teach piano at night, not because of the money, but because I'm so focused on the children. The arts is really, look at me. It was the arts that made me go into what I have, but the analytical had to find my language with it. So the children are so stuck in their social media and they're not developing gifts and talents that they should. And so I am really concerned about that. So I passed along my piano to other pianists, but if I could do it again, maybe in a few years, I want to go back into really touching the children of how they can develop their own gifts and talents. Because it was my gifts and talents that got me to this point. Yeah. Not because I was smart, not because I was an A student, but because I was resilient, because I knew I could do it one day. So that's really important. So music, charity, and then of course I love to read. So reading is one of my things that I don't really, when I'm by myself, it's just a blanket. I love to read. I love knowledge, and that's mostly it. Yeah.
I love that you told me something the other day when we were having lunch that you're very intentional also about separating your spaces, because when you're working, you see everything greens and plants and moss and this, but when you have your retreat space to go read, you don't necessarily want the same kind of space. And so you create different spaces. For yourself.
Or I was explaining that I moved my office. So it's hard to be a manager, director, salesperson, while you also got to talk to your team. So I need that morning or that evening for myself to be creative, because being commander and creating is two different languages. Plus, when you're confining with them and telling them, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do, they're like, how? That's the number one thing. How? Well, what I've been learning for 20 years, I have to pass it to all my employees. But recently I've seen, and it's so good to be transparent with the team. So I had to separate myself. I come back. I had to trust them. You have to trust your team, and they're going to interpret it however they want. So that was a really important boundaries for me to learn that they can do it too. And why? And I ask them, how did you do it? What made you do it this way? Oh, because of this. And then I come in and not dictate or micromanage, but say, what if we did this? What if we did that? And then now we have 3 iterations of different things of how to, accomplish the design. But I learned to be very, 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 I don't want to say patient, but I think the word would be team working. Like, I know it's my business, but it's not
inclusive.
it's not my kingdom. They make it happen. So it's really important for me to learn that. It's so beautiful to see them grow. Milo, today I'm going to do this. And I'm like, yeah, that's how you're supposed to do it. Good job. After 3 years, it's like, that is the most important part. I want them to learn that they can do it without me always being present.
That's great. I made a mental note for a follow-up question, because you talked about giving back from your talents, your musical, biophilic talents. Is that something that happens in structured ways, like maybe the Academy of Arts, going back to your alma mater, the university, or is it more informal in community settings?
It's more formal right now. Definitely will love to go back to. I think I really definitely want to go back to my areas that I was in, but it's just been, school has changed. Yeah. Structure has changed. So, but I definitely want to see how we can create a program where I'm one of a kind. So you're not going to expect flowers in my place, and you're not going to expect everything at the same time. So this would be something to trigger those that I'm like, I want to be unique. I just don't know how to do it. And again, I didn't plan this. Yeah. It was given to me. So I'm trying to massage it. Yeah, no, you're doing great. You're so young still, and already with so much credibility in the community. I'm learning about it as we're getting to know each other. Really excited about this project that we're working on. What advice would you give young people that are, let's say, just beginning their career? They're 18, they're fresh out of high school or about to finish high school, and they say, man, I can relate to Milo because my parents were immigrants. I was an immigrant. How do I become a successful architect, designer, and owner of a business, right? Leader of people. What advice would you give them in their life? What golden nuggets do you have for those young people? I think the most important part that is honoring my parents, honoring where you came from, your heritage. Doesn't have to there's limits and boundaries on that as well. You have to learn how to take that. But honor my parents, and they won't understand you. And their no is because they don't know. Yeah. They're afraid of you. And I didn't understand that. I think that's why my dad was trying to give me something that he knew. And my mom gave me something new. So again, I'm married when my both parents did, and make it MyloFleur. My dad's an electrician. He's an engineer. Mama's a floral. So I married both of them, and they're both coming to my warehouse saying, this is not right. This is that. They're always going to criticize you. But there will never, it's better that they criticize you than say, oh, this is sad. So honoring them is by not arguing, not saying you don't understand me, not a conflict. Understand that your parents didn't have the opportunities you have. And that is so important, because I see that that's the dysfunctional part of families right now. The other thing that I saw a lot lately is comparing each other. I don't look left to right. I look front. There's floral designers that are magnificent. There is architectural. There's landscape architectures that are magnificent. I don't compare, because that's not my line. That's not my story. And third would be, you're your own architect of your life. No matter how many no's, no matter how many dysfunctionalities you have, or I did it and I still struggle. I have a lot of people around me. Can you read it again? I think my eyes are betraying me. My mind betrays me sometimes as well. So mental health is so important. It's a balance of understanding it's okay to fail. Just don't give up. That's very good. It's okay to fail, but don't give up. Now, one of the things, one last thing I wanted to ask you is, I know that, eventually when we have our ribbon cutting ceremony for this move-in, I want you there, and we're going to broadcast that out in our social media platforms so that people can come and see the biophilic design elements that you're going to incorporate to our space. But before then, in the next few weeks, is there some kind of event that maybe you are working on, another Grammys function, something that you want to leave our audience with? Hey, make sure you check this out, or even go to the MyloFleur website to find out about things that are happening? Yeah, so definitely our website is going to be renovated because there's been... our niche is kind of weird to put in together. So what we did is that we separated both worlds into one website. So once you go in, you're going to say, oh, I'm looking for blooms, or I'm looking for artificial or real plants. You'll be able to be more, it's designed to give you our our album, our work ethics and what we've done, plus how to connect with you more easier. And then we're also going to start our retail part. This is going to come in a different months. Our retail, because it's been asked to do retail, and this will also give the parents that are looking for a second job to come in and help. So I'm trying to, as much as I can, to give an opportunity to push my boundaries. So that will be our second thing. And then we are still working with we're working with a construction company, and so we are working a couple projects there. So we're transforming an entire space as well for construction. Wow. So we'll put that up. It should be done in a month or two of public spaces. So yeah, exciting.
So we'll make sure we put the URL for the website here on the screen of our YouTube channel, and we're also going to get some. Today we've talked about projects of yours in the past. Maybe we're going to put some along this interview, designs that we've looked at together. And maybe even if we can collect from you some pictures of the stories you've told, we'd lovely to incorporate in this. So
absolutely.
Thank you for making the time to be here. I think as we talked about earlier, when we finish our project, we'll come back and we'll share with the audience what we accomplished.
That would be great. I love that.
Awesome. Well, Mylo, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's it for another episode of the WC Podcast. We hope you join us at the next one. Until then, stay safe. So here we go. I want to thank Mylo for staying over to do our bonus segment called Against the Wall. Thank you, Mylo.
It's an honor.
So the first section is called Your Favorites. I'm going to give you a category, and you're going to give me your favorite thing in that category. Let's start with an easy one. What's your favorite food?
Oh, Italian food.
Favorite beverage with dinner?
Coke.
Favorite dessert after dinner?
Tiramisu.
Favorite flower or plant to design with?
Sweet peas.
Favorite musical group or artist?
Oh, Mana.
Favorite book or movie?
Oh, movie. I'm going to go with that one. Where Dreams May Come.
Favorite holiday?
A Christmas.
Favorite college sports team?
UNLV.
Favorite professional sports team?
The Raiders.
Perfect. You made it through the first section. Now the second one gets a little tougher, and we call it Tough Choices.
Okay.
I'm going to give you two choices. Hopefully you can pick one. You don't have to if you don't want to, but hopefully you can pick one. Let's start with vacation or staycation.
Oh, vacation.
Hotel or Airbnb?
Hotel.
Retire one day on a ranch or in the city?
Ranch.
If you could, would you rather spend the day by the ocean or hiking in the mountains?
Ocean.
Collaborate with Beyonce or Disneyland?
Disneyland.
Design for the Met Gala or the Olympics opening ceremony?
Met Gala.
Ability to speak with animals or speak any foreign language?
Animals.
Truth or kindness?
Kindness.
Actions or words?
Actions.
Justice or grace?
Grace.
Well, you made it past the second segment called Tough Choices. Good job. The last one is called Finish the Sentence. Okay. Where I'm going to give you about 90% of the sentence. You're going to finish it for me. Are you ready?
Okay.
If Mylo could visit any place in the world, it would be?
Fiji.
The best part about living here in Southern Nevada is?
The hotels.
Mylo's favorite thing about her job at MyloFleur is?
My team.
And if Mylo could travel back in time, she would travel to?
The 1950s.
3 words that describe Mylo are?
Courageous, friendly, and ecstatic.
Well, I couldn't agree more. Mylo, doing the WC podcast here with us today was?
Magnificent. Thank you so much.
Thank you for staying over and doing the bonus segment.
Me too. I appreciate it.